Aang got booted out of home, so the rest of us also got booted out of her former home, and now we have to go talk to a boo hag.
You're leaving out, and Harrod and Willow had a very nice bonding conversation that wasn't at all plot relevant. Don't worry about it.
Bonding
It
might
was.
be a strong word depending on whose POV you're coming from. Willow thought it was incredibly successful. I don't know that Aang did.
I mean, Aang's not upset about it, so that's already a bonus. We've already accomplished something positive.
And then we fought some little gross goblin-y things.
Oh, yes, we did.
Yes, the Mitflits.
One of them disappeared very close to Aang.
That's I don't know. I feel like the way you're phrasing that, you're implying something, and I don't know if I like that. See, I don't know if I like that.
Knew I forgot something. I forgot to activate the safety deck thing, so I'm gonna do that.
Z told you to do that last night.
You can duck if you want to.
It is installed, but I didn't activate it, so it will reload the window. So if you are editing anything, let me know when you're done, because then I will save it and then reload the page.
I'm good.
Nice. Iris, pipe BR.
I'm good.
Okay.
All Gucci.
Cool. We're gonna reload this.
12.
See, the thing you must understand, Kira, is that unless the Joe is incredibly excited about something, a pestering must be done. And I
I'm
did not do
offended.
the pestering.
I was good.
If
I was a good Joe.
if he's incredibly excited about something, he will start doing it before the sentence has fully left your mouth that he should do something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it takes 3 to 5 business days at best.
I thought you were going to say 3 to 5 pestering applications. Applications of pestering.
Oh no, because if I decide to fucking pester Joe, he gets it done before I'm done pestering him.
Or I
The
start it
severe
while
of
you're
his
pestering
pestering.
me, and I'm like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Oh, for fuck's sake. Just literally moments ago, there was a release for the Pathfinder second edition system on Foundry. I'm not going to update it.
Just like fucking leave it. We're good for tonight.
It's fine, probably.
Maybe.
But I'm annoyed by the existence of such a small update window in the corner.
Considering the fact that we played fucking Star Wars on an outdated Foundry period because I didn't fucking bother to update it, it's fine.
Also, keep in mind, it is just an RP session.
Citation needed. Citation needed.
True. So...
Depends on how angry this boo hag is.
Module. I activated the safety tools.
It's there. It's the hard hat on the left side.
Oh yeah, I see it. There's a little vacation
you're right.
symbol too. What's up with us going on vacation?
Vacation symbol?
Yeah.
Around. That's the combat carousel.
Oh, right. Sorry. My bad.
Yeah. That is the combat carousel. You are correct.
Carousal? What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. That is an actual word. That is just the wrong word.
So Amy is here.
Yo.
Hi,
Is Amy human?
You...
Because Joe said that you were not going to be human.
I had 20 minutes to become human again.
Yeah, I said that we would give Amy a little bit of time to become human. Luckily, despite our intentions to start at 7:30, at least my singular intentions, the schedule demanded that we be an 8 o'clock start.
I will disclaimer, I'm not a human yet. but I am here. I will become human again at some point within the next 10 to 15 minutes, but I am present.
She is currently human adjacent.
Yeah,
A little bit of Hume, just Hume.
well, not a lot of men.
Yeah. But if you guys are all ready, we can go ahead and start. And it was a little rushed because I was excited. But where we had last left off, after you guys had all left the Fae and traveled away, there was a vote, and it came down to a single iris, I believe.
It did.
As
It
a
did
no.
indeed.
To venture to the Fae creature known as Dee Dee. And it is a particularly snowy day, but the following morning, after you had dealt with the Mitflits and had after Aang and Willow had a brief but significantly important conversation, you guys had a little bit of an easier time venturing, as the snow, it did not snow the following day, thankfully. There's still snow on the ground in the forest, and it is a crisp morning with like the cold, brisk air and the fresh crunch of snow, or not fresh crunch of snow, but like still like the loud crunch amongst the otherwise quiet forest. But eventually you made your way to the prison of the creature known as Dee Dee, which, if you recall, was a singular hut in a not like a clearing, but the trees kind of thin a little bit, and they come down a little bit, or they come down a lot from being this high reaching canopy of thick forested trees. You now are surrounded by trees that have little glass bottles on the ends of the branches, and they're bare leafed. And then you see a hut that is painted with like a light blue, like haint blue, I believe it's called. And that is where you left off, as there was an eerie voice that had poked in the back of your minds and kind of gave you the sensation of being watched, or being maybe not watched, but monitored. Like something knows you're there. And it said, "I have visitors." And that is where we will be picking up. So, you all stand amongst this tiny cabin, or not in it, but out front of it, maybe about 100, let's say 150 feet away, a good ways away. You're all reasonably certain that this tiny little cabin, more of a shack, really. This tiny shack is probably only big enough for one person. Either one full-sized adult or two small child-sized people. But inside, there is not a dim glow of light. There is no warmth or welcoming gesture. You can see that the door, it is painted like a bluish color, that sky blue. But as you get closer, you can see that the door has a single board, also painted in that same blue. And this is not like a beautiful paint job. This is hastily painted and coated to cover the walls. But painted on the outside, and this board, a single board that is nailed to shut the door to the wall, so that the door cannot open from the outside. And you can see a few solitary pieces of wood from the shack that are just parted, or parted just enough that you can see in if you were to get close enough. And only really one actual window. And on that window, you can see that there are crossbars, and they're thin. They look to be little, like, bars of iron, like almost like rebar. But you can see all of this from far away, and none of you have been here before. Though Maddie and Aang, you both have heard of this creature prior. This creature in specific, who goes by the name of Dee Dee. And she has been here for a long time. So as you see this cabin, and you feel this uncomfortable pressure kind of settle in around you, what do you do?
You said we hear.
Well, they called out to us, right?
Yeah, we hear a voice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You hear that someone has acknowledged that you are here.
Electra will sigh, not believing that she's here. Just give a low sigh. Dee, is that you, correct?
While
hear-
Electra is doing that, just really quick, because
Uh-huh.
I imagine we'll kind of take a step back to the back of the pack and look around the clearing. I'll cast my favorite Pathfinder spell.
Detect magic.
Okay. So you cast Detect Magic as Electra calls out, and as you do, you feel the inner self. One of them. It's not entirely clear which one. And you don't see them as they do this, but you can feel the gentle probing of this inner energy. And you can feel those like little magical wisps. You can't see anything, but they're looking. And there is magic here. And what you can glean from it, I'll say roll me. I want you to roll me a check for this, because I think it calls for it. Let me see. I need to look at.
Not meaning to like interrupt you, Piper, with Electra. I just want to be able to give Electra fucking information if she is stepping forward for the negotiation.
Yeah, so roll me an Arcana check.
I need to remember where that shit is. Give me a sec. There it is.
Totally understandable. I very much have the same thing every time I start at this game. 26. Quite good. So you can gather from your quick assessment of the detect magic, the magic used here, and we're not going by schools or any sort of particular strict adherence to the classifications that are in the Pathfinder book, because that's not typically how the magic formulates here, and that's not how you understand it in the game. But the gist of the magic that is imbued upon the land, the trees, the bottles, and the paint, all of this is preventative and protective. This is a seal. Every bit of magical energy that you can glean, every piece of it, all of it is geared towards preventing this type of creature from escaping. It's like walking into a room where every spotlight is pointed on one door.
But all of the preventative magics are in things that we can see, correct?
Yes,
There's
there
not
is
like a
no
hidden sigil or
invisible.
anything. Okay.
Correct. All of the magic and all of the elements that are plainly visible to you, the trees, the bottles, the paint, etc., all of those things are what hold this magic, this kind of homegrown, tried and true ward. Now, Electra, you were saying, you walked up and said, Dee Dee, is it? Or was it?
Yeah.
There's a pause, and you're not walking. How much closer are you walking?
Just like a step forward.
A single step. Okay.
Like a single step, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you take a step forward and call out, and then you don't hear anything, but there's a pause, and then you hear, why don't y'all come a little closer? I can hardly
Before
hear.
So Electra will raise her voice a little bit, like, okay, if you can't hear, this will help. We've come to bargain in good faith.
And you say that, I imagine this, while you are having this brief exchange, Willow is just about now finishing up with detect magic and kind of assessing the ground. So as you say, you've come to bargain in good faith. Willow, you can feel there's like a not a rupture or anything that is not like a break, but in the same way that if you touch the surface of water and it ripples, you feel that in the magic of the wards. And it's almost like the phrase in and of itself and the intent behind it that has power and significance here, and it warbles across the wards and into the trees and the ground and the grass. And Maddie, even you not even being sensitive to magic in the same way, there's that beat after Electra says it where you feel like the hackles in the back of your neck raise. And from the cabin, you hear, very well. But if you'd like to bargain, I'd like to get a look at your face first, if you don't mind. And I can't hardly see out there with all this fog.
Can I be fair to say that the laws of hospitality apply here?
There's another pause, and then you hear, you need not fear. I am but bound by the land and the structures you see before you. Even if I wanted to break the rules of hospitality, I could not. So you have my word.
I don't think
Fred
she's
just kind
actually
of breathes.
lying with that one.
Electra will nod and take a step forward.
How much Old Gods did you listen to for this voice, Joe?
Too much. 50 episodes worth of Old Gods.
Jesus Christ.
But you all start walking forward, and I assume everyone's walking with you.
That's up to them.
Willow will start walking at first behind Electra and then fucking, of course, because it's Willow, gonna veer off. She's not gonna touch nothing, but she is going to go investigate one of the trees.
Okay. So you're still all walking up, and if someone is hesitating, speak now or forever hold your peace. Pierre walks very close beside Paige, because even the non-magically inclined feel a little anxious here. Anxious in the same way that someone would feel when they walk underneath a very rickety wooden ladder.
Maddie was gonna move with the group, but seeing Willow kind of veer off a little bit, she'll kind of move between, trying to stay a little close, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
We're not yet entering, we're just approaching, right?
Just approaching. Just
Yeah,
approaching the
I
outside of the structure.
imagine there's going to take a lot of back and forth before Electra even thinks of letting us through the front door.
Yeah.
And Harrod's gonna go to a window to look in.
Okay. So you go up to a window.
Yeah, that's kind of what Electra is doing as well, because she has to look at her. So I'll be right next to her.
Let me see. It hasn't loaded for me, but I tried to turn off the fog. There we go.
It
A
won't
little
let me
bit,
move
yeah.
my token.
Listen, there's a reason I have restricted token movement.
Joe!
If I give you the ability to move your token, are you going to be a little gremlin?
No, I just want to move Willow
Okay.
over near the fucking tree. Gimme. I am not the gremlin you need to worry about. I don't move my token that much.
So, you all start to approach. That's why. So as you start to approach and get up close to the window, just out of the corner of the window, you see a pearly white, pale finger. And then another, and another, and another, and then all 5 of them grip around. And not the whole face, but half the face of something behind the window reveals itself. As you see what looks like some kind of maybe about 30s plus or minus 5 years, a woman in her 30s. She looks human. She has blonde hair. It's a little frayed and a little bit messy. She's wearing a soft blue, also kind of sky blue outfit with an apron. She looks a little worse for wear, a little tired. But she smiles at you. Half smile that you can see from behind the window. And she wiggles her fingers and says, "It's a pleasure to see y'all. I greatly appreciate y'all for walking a little bit closer. My eyes aren't nearly as good as they used to be. Oh, but..." And you are all close enough to hear this now. You hear a really, really clear, like, sniff. Like an animal sniffing the air, like they smell something unusual. And she sniffs twice. And she kind of narrows her eyes and says, "Now, I ain't smelled that scent for a dog's age. And one of y'all," and she smiles as she says this, "now I know one of y'all been cavorting around with Miss Alexandria, the legendary hunter herself, Hawk. Which one of y'all is it?"
She's speaking to all of us, or is it more directed to Electra and Herod?
She's looking at Aang, but the sentiment is not aimed at anyone that you can tell.
Herod will nod, and there's a strange look on her face. She seems, well, she's always a bit off and distant, but she seems to be wrestling with a few different emotions right now. "'Tis I. Much have I heard about thee."
Oh, now, you done heard about little old me? Oh, pardon. I didn't introduce myself. And if you've come here to bargain in good faith, she turns and looks towards you, Electra, though not pointedly, just glancing over to you. I think it's only fair that I introduce myself. She holds her hand up and balls it into a fist and clears her throat and says, Now I am known as Dee Dee. That ain't my given name, from my mother. But it was the name of this lovely woman I'm wearing and have been wearing for quite some time, and it's been so long, you have to beg my pardon. I've plumb forgotten my original given name. But I had this skin so long that I think Dee Dee I think it suits me. She smiles. So you can call me Dee Dee.
Do names have power, Joe?
In this setting, yes, there is a lot of power behind giving your full true name.
Okay. I'm from the Valentine family, so please call me Valentine. It is not my true name, much like yours is not Dee Dee, but I believe that is fair enough.
She nods. Pleased to meet you, Miss Valentine. Or is it Mrs.?
Just Miss. Wait.
She nods.
The single one.
Yeah.
Which...
Miss is unmarried.
Okay.
And she looks to you, Aang, since you are the next closest person.
And Herod will study her for a second. And then, many names have I, but among them, favorites of mine. Thou mayst call me beloved.
Thou mayst call you what?
Beloved.
Beloved.
Mm-hmm.
She looks almost taken aback, but not in like a rude way, but like she puts her hand over her heart and she just goes, oh my. Well, aren't you just the strangest thing? And then right in front of me, my own kin, in a matter of speaking. Beloved. What? Now, if I had a nickel for every time I heard a fella call me that, I'd have a dime. And she silently fake laughs.
And Herod doesn't laugh. However, there is a small spark of something that might be amusement in her eyes. Yes, well, a man might have called thee that, but 'tis my very nature. Thus, beloved shall I be.
She looks at you, Aang, and you feel you feel that presence, that gaze on her, from her, and you feel it on you. You feel it in the same way that maybe like a tailor would measure you. And it's not sizing you up. This isn't like assessing if they could beat you in a fight, but more like getting a good look at you, trying to understand you.
Are we doing the dog sniffs? Can I do that back?
Well, you can, but you have to roll me a will save first.
That's fair. Sure, I'll give it a shot. That sounds fun. Where's my will save? Oh, okay, it's pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't roll decently.
No, you do have a hero point.
All right,
Everyone
it's every
starts with
session.
1.
What? I can re-roll it? Is it?
Correct. You can just
Yeah.
straight re-roll a check.
Let's do that. I will dock my hero point.
Woo!
There we go.
So with
better.
a nat 20, you feel you are familiar with this. You feel that gaze settle on you. And there's something else behind it. Not just the measurements, not just the assessment, and almost like weighing you and measuring you methodically. There's a soft tingle and tickle, like spider legs kind of creeping along the skin of your forearm. And it goes up your forearm and up to your shoulder and around the back of your neck, up to the side of your chin, right up to the edge of your mouth. And you snap to it. And you feel the invisible, ethereal fingers trying to get inside your head. And you can see nothing, but you know that this creature was just about able to pull something over you, to root around in your head, or take something from you. It wouldn't be a lot, but they wanted to get something from you.
Inherent doesn't show very much outward sign of this. She just tilts her head. Dee Dee, we hath here come in good faith, and here thou art, attempting what thou knowest to be thievery.
Her eyebrow goes up for a second. She puts a hand over her mouth and just goes, oh. You'll have to forgive me, I'm sorry. I'm sure you, being of, well, familiar kin, you know it's not always intentional. Sometimes stuff like that just slips out. But, you're right. You're all here, in good faith, come to bargain with little old me. For what I have to offer, I do not know. But I'm intrigued to hear. What has brought me so many delightful little visitors?
Somewhere there is a woman carrying a box. A very important box. We went to the Queen of the Broken Branches in an attempt to secure this box, but she refused our aid, and now we come to you.
See. So you're out here looking for a woman. Well,
Pause.
go ahead.
Is it a woman or is it a girl?
What did I say? Did I say woman?
Yeah, you said woman.
Okay, I did. I meant
Yes.
girl. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
We don't
Jesus
really
Christ.
know
Kid.
because it's
Yeah, we got,
also
no, you're good. You're good.
called a girl by Hawk,
Yeah.
who everybody is a little girl to Hawk at this point. Because Hawk is
Yeah.
old
This is very
and
fair.
big as fuck.
This is very fair. But you above table, it is a girl, like a young woman, not at all
Okay.
above the age of 16 even.
Okay.
So I'll say that you said you've come looking for a girl.
Okay.
So going off of that, she goes, looking for a girl? In these woods? Around these parts? You think a little old girl with some kind of fancy box is gonna make it more than a day's journey into these woods? I'll
It
tell
is a
you right
very
now.
powerful box.
Pray tell, what is this box? What's in it?
Do not fucking
Truthfully,
tell her.
we
Do
don't.
not fucking tell her. Do not.
We're bargaining in good faith. We have to be honest with her.
I will say you don't have to lie, but
We don't
this
have to
comes
give
in.
everything either.
If you don't, I would say that you, Electra, you can say we don't truthfully know what is inside the box. You
Yeah.
aren't lying.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like we don't fully understand what's in the box, but it's
Mhm.
intense enough for us to want it. Or to deem it a risk. I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You see her other hand creep around the outside edge of the window, and she's not reaching out of the bars at you, but her fingers slip just a bit, and they touch the paint. For the magically inclined, Paige and Willow, you feel that, well, there is a tightness, like a spring, wound tight, and she puts her fingers out on the edge of that blue paint, and that tightness is like a mousetrap, just on the verge of springing. And if she moves a little bit too wrong, might snap and hurt her. So you can tell that she has to be careful, but she is very intrigued. That movement almost gives it away. But she shuffles a bit and says, "So she's got some kind of fancy little box with some secrets in it. And you're, of course, working on the assumption that this girl's alive and well. Maybe not well, but alive nonetheless. And you want, what, me to find her? Sniff her out for you?"
Find her and deliver her and the contents of the box to us unharmed. If you can do that and guarantee you will not harm any humans, then we will be happy to release you from this prison.
Neither cause harm nor allow harm to be visited upon them.
You can see her one eye narrow. And for a moment she shuffles. And when she does, you see just a hint of the other side of her face. But she moves back. Now, that's a powerful bargain. You let me free and all, on account of me getting this box-carrying little girl of yours. I have to ask, as we are bargaining in good faith, are there any restrictions on how I may go about my business? Am I to work
So,
alone? Am I to have supervision?
I'm fine with it being so long as she doesn't harm the girl or the box. Then I'm fine with letting her do whatever she wishes to get it.
Or allow
Me
harm to be done. It's a
Yeah.
very
Mhm,
important
mhm.
writer.
We'll tack that on
Yeah.
to my future statements. But
Well, I
yeah,
already said
Mhm.
it, so.
yeah.
Yeah, I
As
got
long
you.
as she does that, I'm fine with letting her work on her own.
And Herod will, well, above table, and Herod wants to supervise.
Mm-hmm. This is so my asking for the supervision is partially asking, do you want her to follow you guys around and be beholden to the party and lead you to the girl? Or do you want her to go on her own and find the girl and bring her to you?
It would be a lot faster if she just goes and gets the damn girl box. Just saying.
This is it. It could be. It could be.
It would be faster, but my concern would be the methods that may be done. Because yes, she may not kill a human or allow harm to be done to a human, but there's still a lot of shit that I'm sure a very old, very powerful Fey adjacent creature can do. And if we are quote unquote supervising, there's at least for a period we can provide a buffer.
If it comes down to
And
conflict with her, she's gonna eat us alive, both figuratively and mechanically.
I will
well,
say for certainty, the lot of you can fight her. It would be hard, but it could be done.
Okay.
and I don't know if it was specified or not, or if it's important to specify, but we did say bring her back to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not like she finds her and then, okay,
We
done.
should also include our safe passage away from here, because she could just literally bring the girl to us and then, like, okay, packed over. You're all going to the Shadow Realm, Jimbo.
But if that's the case, though, we could. I don't know. Do we want above the table? Like, do we want to? Um, do we want her being around after we get her help?
I think the idea is that we get the child. She finds the child. She brings the child to us, or we find the child with her, and then we part ways. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think we should. Like, I know you guys like are trying to catch all the Pokemon. I don't think we should make friends with the cannibal Fae.
I will
Nobody
will
has
tell you.
said that. We're just talking about whether or not
Yeah.
it's a damage mitigation thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will tell you. There is an opportunity you can to bargain with her where she gets out of prison, helps you, and goes back to prison. She would ask for more freedoms during certain times, but you don't necessarily have to go for the deal where it's let her out and she's free. There are other opportunities that you can be a little bit more greedy with some things and a little bit more conservative with others.
Mm,
And you are also always free to ask her any sort of question about herself or anything, because
We are.
despite being the powerful, unusual Fae that she is still bound by some rules. And you have caught her in a situation where she has no real cards but one.
I forgot that we can question this woman.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine Willow, when she felt the like tightening of the trap, kind of slowly looked over, kind of stared at the window for a second, kind of starts making her way across the clearing, just kind of patting Maddie on the shoulder as she goes by, skirting around the siblings. Just eyes on the window the entire time. Are any of the others, Willow's others, given weird vibes right now? Or are they quiet?
Explain what you mean.
Like,
The willow. Yes. So of the few of the few that you can ask, there is a palpable stillness of the two most prominent of summer and winter. And you can almost, not clearly, but maybe out of the corner of your eye you see it. You see the two of them similarly dressed, or dressed very similarly to you, if not exactly like you. They stand shoulder to shoulder staring at this window. And there is a mixture of inquisitiveness and caution. More caution than you typically expect from inner versions of yourself when faced with a new and interesting creature.
We'll just kind of skirt around Pierre and Paige. Is Paige looking particularly fucking uncomfortable right now? Because Amy's been muted a long time. I think we've lost the Amy.
Hi. Sorry, I'm dealing with work shit at the moment.
Oh no.
I'm very sorry, friend.
It's okay. Just management imploding while I watch from the sidelines.
Yeah, stay on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Okay. We'll pat Paige's head and move past. So, you know, up behind Aang for a second, then peeking around.
Aang,
Not hiding,
sorry.
just peeking around.
Yeah, no, sorry. I got something stuck in my throat. I was gonna talk. Okay, all right. Would you be okay with Aang introducing you?
Sure.
As you approach, Aang looks back toward Willow, then looks back at Dee Dee. Here is my friend, Trelawney. Delani, sorry.
Her eyebrows perk up a little bit. And she extends a hand out the window. A dainty, soft, white hand with a single broken nail on the ring finger. And she says, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Delane. Now, you're not close enough to shake hands." But she offers a hand.
Well, it kind of looks at the hand and will lean in between Electra and Aang. Not reaching a hand out, but more in an inspecting gesture. And it's kind of like looking at the hand and then eyeballing the window. I am surprised that you are able to get through the window like that. This is
She smiles.
powerful magic that's holding you here, is it not?
She nods very, very firmly and just goes, "Darling, you have no idea."
And you are, I am assuming, eager to get any sort of break then.
She sighs in this dramatic posture. And again, for a brief second, you get a glimpse of the other half of her face, and you can see that there is like a drooping, a sagging of the skin on the left half of her face. And you can see the muscle tissue and the sinew around the underside of where the eyelid would be. Or rather, is. And you can see the mouth is distorted and showing some teeth, but more gum. And her hair kind of falls more matted, not with any sort of blood, but maybe with water or snow or sweat. She goes, ugh. Darling, sorry. Missed it, Lawney. I've been in here so long, and I haven't had a half-decent meal in damn near maybe 2 decades. Shoot, it's been so long, I plumb forgot. I stopped counting years. You know, I was put in here with no consideration about how I would get any meals. I was just left to my own devices. I think they intended to make me starve to death. Luckily for me, I'm more savvy than that.
How so? Sorry, did my mic pick that up?
No, I heard oh so.
How
I heard
so?
how so.
She nods and just goes, well, a inquisitive mind, it would seem. Well, won't be doing this to you. And she looks over to Angharad and then looks back to you and just goes, as per the rules of hospitality. But I have a bit of sway over more weak-minded creatures, like wildlife or bugs, or particularly meat-headed individuals. None of which are here, unfortunately. But that's how I've been subsisting for this time.
So you
It's been an
can eat
unfortunate
wildlife,
fact. Oh, I can and do. If you are curious. And she looks at her nails and examines them, and then after she does that gesture, she takes her finger and points towards the floor. Do you look at the ground?
If it, yeah, as long as Willow doesn't have to get like what she feels is dangerously close to kind of
Mm-hmm.
get a better look, kind of go up on her toes more so.
Mm-hmm. So you get on your tiptoes, and you don't have to stare for very long, but you can see on the inside of that little shack, just past the windowsill, you can see the many, many tattered bones and remains and hair and discarded skins of squirrels and rabbits, deer, birds, a whole menagerie of animals sit in a pile stacked almost as high as the windowsill, just behind the lip of that window. And she shrugs. It ain't what I would prefer, but I make do. She examines her nails again.
From where we are, I know it's kind of shadowed because there's not light in the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
But does there look to be any sort of like anything inside beyond just her and bones?
Nope. Nothing. There's nothing in there. The only thing inside that little wooden box, aside from the skin and bones of countless critters of the woods, is Dee Dee. There's not even a candle. There is not a knob on the door on her side.
Willow kind of presses her lips together a little bit, kind of considering expression as she kind of leans back on her heels again. And she'll kind of like tilt her head. If I may, and she'll kind of look towards Electra and wait for a consent from Electra before she continues.
She just kind of holds her hand out. All right.
It is a bit more of a complicated deal, but perhaps if we can make an agreement with you regarding finding this girl, would you be willing to come back into this house if we make it a little bit more comfortable? You seem to lack many of the creature comforts that I would think you would like.
So you say, like, come back into this house if you make it more comfortable. She leans forward, and for the first time since you all have been at this cabin, she steps forward, and there's not a lot of light, despite it being daytime. There is a weird, ethereal darkness to this part of the woods. But she walks up to the window and puts both hands on the window, and you get a much clearer view of her face. I'm trying to see if I can remove this fucking tile.
That's what Dee Dee says as she wrestles with the ceramic tile that has fallen from the roof.
There. She steps forward and grabs the bars and just goes, "Oh, darling, if there were a way that you could make a wooden box, this tiny slice of hell I was unfortunately forcibly gifted by a huntress bitch. Pardon my French." And she looks at you, Electra.
As she says that, and Herod just flash eyes, leans forward toward the glass. There's iron bars around it, right?
Yes.
And Herod will lean in such that she is a hair's breadth from the iron. I shall thank thee not to call her that.
You better not be talking who I think you're talking about.
I believe we are starting into negotiations a little poorly now. Grab Aang's elbow.
You grab her elbow and like Electra kind of like tries to slide it in front of her while like trying to like hold her hand out to Maddie.
Yeah,
You slide
deal
in
with
front of
Maddie.
her, and
I got Aang.
you both pull Maddie and Aang back just from the brink. And Aang, just before you're pulled away, you see a smile crawl across her face. What is your will save DC?
That's a good question, Chief.
It would be
Where do
10 plus your will save bonus.
17?
Damn.
17. Okay. So, if you don't mind for a brief second, you lean forward and you hear it very clearly, Aang. You hear that. The sniff. And she smiles, and that smile grows wider and wider and wider to the point where you count way more teeth than a normal human should have. But she doesn't say anything. And she looks over to Maddie and just goes, "I'm dreadfully sorry. I didn't mean to offend. You're all here in good faith." She takes her hands off of the iron, and you notice something, Aang. Her hands touch the iron, and they don't burn.
Huh.
But she holds her hands up in like a surrender gesture. And when she is in the full light of this ambient, sort of ethereal light that is just around here, you can see the droop of the skin on the left half of her face more clearly. And on her hand, the cuticle around her nails on her left hand is exaggerated. The nails themselves are longer and they look yellowed. Part age, part disease, infection, sickness, any number of things. Her right hand, disturbingly human, but her left, everything, the left half of her face, the left hand, the left part of her body, there is a palpable droop or age or decay that is set in. It's hard to tell which. But she has her hands up in the surrender gesture and just goes, "Now, to answer your question," she points to you, Willow. "I don't think any amount of amenities could make this little hellish blue box here comfortable. I would love to see your recommendations. I could use an interior decorator, especially one who is so eloquently spoken and dressed. But, well, I don't see any sort of religious iconography on you. So I cannot, in good faith, believe that you are a miracle worker. Personally, I would prefer to be free of this place. But I'm willing to work out a deal where I get just a little bit of a break."
There is
Maddie.
a
You have in
pause
mind.
of there's a pause of amusement at her words, but Willow is slightly distracted by shoving Aang as gracefully as she can manage to not look like a fool, knowing that Aang is much stronger and much more adept than she is, but trying to get Aang a few feet away. Fucking
Aang
go take
is
care of the others.
she's very stiff and just focused on that one spot that where Dee Dee is standing. Uh, you can see her lip raising a little bit and her sharp teeth beneath.
Willow just kind of, because Aang's only a few inches taller than Willow, I think.
She's 6'.
I think Willow might be taller than her then. I don't remember. Anyway, just kind of looks Aang in the eye. Will position herself first kind of halfway in front, and then will turn to look Aang in the eye. "I think you need to take a moment to calm down. Your better nature is lacking at the moment."
What nature was that? I missed
Your
that.
better nature is lacking at the moment.
Thank you. As Willow stares Angharad down, there's a second where Angharad is still glaring past her. But eventually, she sort of sniffs, and there's this firm set of her mouth as she turns, and only after she's turned, reaches and closes her hand around her crucifix. She nods to Willow. "Very well. If that be thy opinion of the matter, I shall take thy counsel." And Ingharad will step a bit further back.
We'll let her go, and we'll look to think to say to something to Maddie, but then decide, you know what? That's Electra's problem. I already did the Herculean task of fucking dealing with one weirdling.
Electra, you are still the closest in proximity to Dee Dee. And Dee Dee, for a brief second, her eyes flash to you, and there is this almost like comical staring into the camera sort of expression she gives you, and she just goes, "You keep strange company for a hunter."
Yes, yes, I do.
Was there something that you wanted to say, Iris, by the way? I think in the scramble I might have gotten lost.
Yeah, I have an idea.
Shoot.
You can't fight her. Not right now. We need her.
No, that wasn't the plan.
Not yet.
Not yet. So Maddie was, chilling with Willow, keeping on and also listening to the conversation. Heard that, stepped up and got kind of pissy. So she moves closer to the window, kind of against the wall at an angle, and just much what was intended before this was going to be just more calm, but it's a bit more gruff and annoyed. But she kind of looks in from her angle and is like, "So, how often do you need to feed survive?"
Oh gosh, need. And she puts one hand on her elbow and the other hand on her chin. And she goes in this like overly dramatic thinking gesture. And she just goes like, "Well, I mean, hell, how many calories you burn a day, sweetheart? You being all foxy like. I imagine you probably burn somewhere between a couple thousand. But
Okay, let's put it this way. How many of those have you gotten in a week? Pointing towards the carcasses.
she smiles and kind of, she doesn't bite her lower lip, but it's a little bit of like a toothy grin. And for a second, Maddie, you see she licks the edge of her lip and her tongue is discolored. You can see this clearly. Her tongue is tinted green. And she looks at you and says, "Well, typically, I try to make do with the carcasses. Because if I didn't, this room would be full of them. This here," and she does like a little finger and circles the pile of corpses and skin and bones and says, "I'd say that's about a month's worth. Granted, I would much rather eat about this much over the course of a week than struggle to get the attention of some doe who happens to wander by. Much in the same way that you probably want a steak every other day instead of a steak every other week. Fair to say?" She raises an eyebrow. The other eyebrow doesn't raise. Not because she didn't raise it, but because you don't think it quite responds to the muscle underneath.
Yeah, that's fair.
I may seem old for my age, but I promise you I'm a growing girl.
Would you come back into this hut if meals were brought to you at certain intervals?
Well, that depends on the meal. Who are you gonna bring me?
Depends on how useful you'll be.
He he smiles again, and there's like that lick of the lips. I like you. I didn't at first. You got a mouth on you, girl, and I think you picked that up from your teacher, mama, maybe. But I like you. I like the attitude. You remind me of me, kinda. She smiles.
If you're trying for a comp, that wasn't one.
All right, Madigan,
Well,
what do you suggest in terms of bringing her food? I believe this is what you need to address at this moment.
Well, I assume you're going to be of no use if you don't have anything to sustain yourself while you're with us.
she nods. You can see that that is probably the most straightforward, earnest yes you have gotten.
Okay, above table, I literally don't have specifications. My thought was like, oh, have an offering every month or week or some shit. I don't fucking know.
The issue with that is who's going to enforce that?
That was going to be the next question. Because if
Yeah, just like, well, if we could get her food every week, maybe she would be
well,
amenable
that's
to staying in the box.
but yeah, my thought is find a way to sustain her. Like I don't know, put a fucking like it has to be fresh, huh? Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Well,
You like?
it's
You
something
want
that
to breed rabbits?
We could we could also set up traps around the hut.
That's a temporary solution, though. We can't guarantee
Mhm.
she'll get food that way.
and once the traps are sprung, they're sprung.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I don't think this is I like what you're going for, but I don't think this is a valid route.
Not to mention having to travel here
Yeah.
regularly, it would
Well,
take a long time.
literally, my thought I did not know. That's why I asked how long
Mhm. Mhm.
she needs to eat. So I'm like, oh, if it's like fucking if she needs a new body once a year, fucking send a prisoner or some shit. I know it's not a great solution.
So,
Death
proposing
row
to
becomes
her,
DD row.
proposing to her the thing about a new body could be good.
Yeah, I mean, you can either get a prisoner or I'm sure there's hunters that are like, I'm about to die, I want to be useful.
That too.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's my thought process. That's why I asked for clarification on how much she needs to eat to survive. I don't know if anyone else has better thoughts.
So she, like, we don't have to get into like the nitty gritty of how many calories she needs to sustain herself, but if, well, in character, if I were to put a number on it, at least about a moose meat worth every week.
Oh shit! I didn't realize it was a large pop up of that
Oh,
nature. I'm very sorry.
neat.
Oh, it's fine.
No, that's cool.
Make sure that we actually see what you've put in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Aang is pacing and praying. It's not entirely clear to everyone, but Dee Dee kind of drums her fingers on her arm for a second and strokes her chin with the other one. You can see that when she strokes her chin, the skin like moves with it. She looks around and says, I don't mean to interrupt negotiations, but we've been talking for a minute now. If you don't mind, I'd like to get acquainted with everybody. I know you, Miss Valentine, and I know you, and she looks to you, Angharad, dearly beloved. And, of course, the incomparable Miss Delaunay, but I don't know. These three lovely young faces here, and I think I would be more amenable to deal making were I to know who my interlocutors were in this intellectual debate.
The two behind me are the Cuvier siblings.
Pierre holds up a hand.
Paige also holds up a hand.
And well, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
And Willow just kind of looks towards Maddie and squints for a second. Because we're given only parts of names and nicknames, and Madigan has one name.
Wolf, get over here.
Yeah, see, Maddie's not scared. Like, Maddie. She kind of spits out.
She looks over to you, Maddie, nods her head, and it, like, does a welcoming gesture and just goes, Maddie. Simple name, strong name. Pleasure to meet you. And of course, it is also a pleasure to meet you, the young Cuvier siblings. Well, it might be a touch difficult to reach a decision. And seeing as y'all can't just walk into my little humble abode here, and she gestures to the door, which is nailed shut, she says, I would be amenable to postpone any sort of firm deal making on account of two things, if you're willing to hear me out. Again, all in good faith, mind you. She puts a hand over her heart. Scout's honor.
And what do you propose?
Nothing much. I just want to get to know you all a little better. Hear about your life, your struggles. I'm curious about the lot of you, 'cause you've all come here seeking me out to help you find some strange box-toting girl in the woods. And, well, my curiosity is also a hunger that I must feed. Above table, that is not like a biological need. Well, I think that I would be amenable to make a temporary deal. You let me out. Maybe I pal around with y'all for a little bit, and you tell me about yourselves. Y'all are a curious bunch, and I can see that there is much unspoken betwixt you all. And, well, I pride myself on being a good listener. And she smiles and flutters one set of eyelashes. The other just sags lazily. And of course, because I know you humany types don't like it when I get all ravenous, I will cross my heart not eat another living man or woman as I walk with you in your group. I will feast upon the animals of the wood or some other unfortunate non-human that happens to traipse across the path that you have decided to walk. While I, of course, guide you to your box girl.
So you just want to travel with us until we get to the box?
What's the saying? I've been locked up here for so long and I ain't had nobody to talk to, so it's been a minute. So I believe the saying is, kick the can down the road a bit. Postpone any permanent deal for an intermediary one. One that lets me out, lets me enjoy the freedoms of the outdoors once again. Of course, with limitations. But I get to also enjoy your company. Because again, I have a powerful curiosity about you all. She looks over at Angharad, and then to Maddie, and then to Willow, and then to Pierre.
Pierre, curse you for looking delicious.
Excuse me.
When she's like, when she was earlier like meat-headed, I'm like, oh god, that's Maddie and that's Pierre.
Like, don't stop looking.
I should like it if you stay within at least one of our sites during this time. And should something happen to do any harm onto us, the deal will be considered off and you must return here immediately.
She throws up her hands and says, I will do no harm unto you and your crew, nor will I do harm unto any undue subjects.
Electra,
With your permission, I will do what must be done, but not without, barring, of course, the unfortunate wildlife that might bounce on by.
What were you saying, Iris?
Yeah. Electra, don't agree to something just yet. We need to figure out what we want to do.
I know that.
I don't like this mall agreement.
You think I do?
Should you go wandering the woods with us? How long until that body you are currently using finishes falling apart?
She looks at you, and then you can see her eyes look down, and you can assume that she's like examining parts of herself, her left half. And she reaches over and pulls part of her apron and her little like blouse / summer dress to readjust it. Well, I've been holding on to this one for quite some time. I imagine you were to be seen with me in a predominantly human settlement. It might raise a few eyebrows. I can make this puppy last for a few more years if need be, but I ain't gonna be able to pretty it up none. It's about as good as it's gonna get, and this is with, mind you, a lot of maintenance in the interim. And she holds up her arm, her left arm, and extends it and pulls up the sleeve of her dress. It's a short sleeve, but when she pulls it up, you can see that around the edges of her armpit and her shoulder and around the edge of where her chest is, there are stitches And it's hard to tell. You can only tell by the nature of the way the skin is collected and stitched. But you can see that there's a very, very thin, almost translucent, white blondish thread of some kind that has been woven into the loose skin to hold it under her, to keep it from sloughing completely off. And if you're curious, I do know how to stitch clothing. If any of y'all happen to have any tailoring that needs done. And she smiles. I'm self-taught.
Okay, so what do we actually want to do?
I say we take 5 and discuss this away from her.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You are.
Well, I was
Yep.
thinking let's do it above table just so we can actually talk this out.
Yes.
I have another question in character, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So, what did you do that got you put on the hunters list, Annie? I mean, there's plenty of others that survive without getting put on their radars.
And she examines her nails and does this exaggerated gesture as if she's going to clean the underside of her nails on her right hand and says, well, if you can believe it, I got on their shit list purely by virtue of being myself. Just didn't jive with how some of the folks over at Terramark saw things. I didn't get this skin because I found it lying on the ground, if that's how you catch my meaning.
So
But
you went on
in
a
fairness, no, not a rampage. I am fiddle. I only take what I need and store the extra. I had a nice little abode, a loving husband, no children, thank the Lord. And I had made use of this lovely woman for a number of weeks. And before that, I was, I think, a nice young man. No, I can't quite remember where we were. Maybe up in Starwick. I came south because well, I got a little cold up north, and the city became a little bit untenable for my lifestyle and my proclivities. Though it was easier to hide amongst the masses. It's easy to be a face in a crowd when the face you take is a nobody. I had done this for a number of years. Unfortunately, I did it one too many times. Close to, and she looks over to you, Electra, and she goes, close to an extended family member of a particularly frustrating hunter from Terramar. And then I got on their shit list. And it was only a matter of time then, because once I'm on the Terramarked Hunter shit list, well, they keep sending them. And after about the third or so one, I got the big nasty herself. And she puffs up her chest a little bit and squares her shoulders as much as she can. She is still in a petite frame. You all know her, fear her, the legendary hunter herself, and she threw me in a box, being as it would be more appropriate to let me be trapped here than to wander free or be released in death. And she was right. I'd rather be dead.
I need. Where's the D20? Where's the D20?
/R. /R will never fail you.
Shit.
Not to be arranged. Mumbles.
Madigan,
Okay.
please.
Willow.
Guys, we should take a break. Ready with me?
Willow just sighs and puts a hand over her face.
I
said it.
apologize for my comrade's remarks.
Oh, goodness,
Said
don't.
it.
Listen, you do not have nothing to apologize for, sweetie. If I was in your shoes, I would want to kill me too. I would want to kill me and skin me and leave me up for the crows. And I would relish every second of it. You're well within your rights to be pissed off, given that, well, you've got some kind of weird fixation on this hawk woman. But, no offense taken. I can
Back
appreciate
to the
a
above
good
table.
violent spit.
Back to the above table.
Yes.
What are we
so
doing?
above table right now, she is okay with working out a temporary deal where you babysit her, so long as you all talk to her and give her a little bit of time to get to know you all.
I don't like this.
Yeah, who
That
else
makes-
disagrees
fine
with
with
that?
that.
Raise your hand.
No.
No.
Yeah, you, Miss fucking badass, super powerful vampire fucking bitch. Of course, you're okay with that.
It's also worth noting that she is in that temporary deal. She would be 100% abiding by the I'm not going to hurt you, I'm not going to kill you, I'm not going to torture you, whatever. I'm only going to eat wildlife that we come across, and maybe some other people or whomever if you give me the go ahead.
I will say, like, I have perhaps overconfidence in myself, but I have confidence in if we make some sort of deal as far as temporary at least.
Mhm.
I am 100% down, and Willow being a fucking an heir to a like fucking Walmart family type shit. She knows contracts. She doesn't like contracts, but she knows contracts. So I feel like I can negotiate a fairly ironclad, point by point. You are not hurting or harming or, doing anything like that for a short term, because the I just keep wanting to say Lavinia instead of Dee Dee. Dee Dee is going to be more amenable to that agreement.
I will tell you on a completely 100% above table clarity moment. The offer that Dee Dee put forward about just following you around and letting her be babysat while being mostly out of the way, save again for just generic wildlife that comes across the path. She will be her weird, creepy self, but that is an extended olive branch from me to say, like, cool. If you're not sure about what deal you want and how tight you want to make the reins, this allows you to take her up on the offer, have a little bit of fun NPC, PC back and forth, and then later on, if you guys need more time to mull it over, you can come up with a hard stop to the deal and be like, all right, we know how this is going to end. You're getting back in the box. We're getting this, this, and this. We'll bring you X, Y, and Z. Done.
See,
Like, however airtight you want to make it,
I'm still
I will
comfortable.
give you time.
I'm still comfortable trying for the long-term one. I think there was just some impatience from some people to get it done and over with faster. That there's just a little bit more back and forth needs to be had to clarify some things. but
Mm-hmm.
I think there's 3 issues too with either just letting her out in general. One, she's gonna need a new body. Like, if we're going anywhere near civilization, either we're splitting the party, so part of the party's in the dangerous ass forest, while the other part is in the city, or she's getting a new body.
To be fair, Angharad is very staunchly opposed to cities, and you would have to convince her. Although she is now bound to follow Maddie, she won't be happy about it. Uh, so Angharad already prefers not to be in cities anyway.
Mm,
So
can I
at
get a
the,
quick clarification?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because, like, my instincts are telling me, but then again, I'm just a paranoid person in general, of just like, yes, we leave one person with them, and then she's just gonna kill that one person when no one's there.
She
No,
did,
So,
you
like, how
have
hard
yeah,
and
she
fast
did
is.
say that she
good.
wouldn't.
Yeah, she would. She, in good faith, again on above table and in character, she will not attack or maim or kill or torture any one of you in any physical capacity. On a mechanical level, she will not deal damage to you. She will talk to you and be her unsettling, weird self and make you feel gross and weird, but she will not
we can't
hurt
account for
or damage your
psychological
character.
damage.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
that's different.
I promise you that she will not deal psychic damage to you, again, mechanically, but she might deal psychic damage to you, the player, just by
Virtually.
virtue of being her weird self.
Okay. I
I'm
just want to
fine with
get,
her
like,
coming along, in all honesty.
Yeah, I wanted to offer that as like an olive branch of like, cool, if you guys want to kind of kick the can down the road, you absolutely can, and I will give you no punishment for it. The quote unquote punishment would be that she gets to talk to all of you and be her little creepy self.
the other 2 things that I'm concerned about,
Mm-hmm.
one is, what if she is found with us? Kind of things, like found out that she is with us and what she is, right? I'm not
Oh,
sure how
that's
well that would be taken in general.
that is a
And
risk you will have to take.
yeah,
Yeah.
and 3, and this is much smaller in comparison, but I think this is more for Maddie and Ing. I don't know how Hawk would take it if she encountered us with Dee Dee.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah, that's a person problem. That's not a group problem.
yeah, y'all gotta talk to your mom for breaking into the liquor cabinet that she told you not to go into. Um.
He told us not to talk to strangers.
What a
Mhm.
fucking analogy. Just like, hey, don't go in there. Just like, well, okay, that's basically mom's liquor cabinet. And Maddie, like absolute renegades, just like, let's fucking get in there.
Yo, let's invite all our friends over.
And
It's like,
to clarify too, you the information Joe gave me was not that Hawk was the one who tracked her, by the way. So Maddie was not fully putting 2 and 2 together there. So that's why she's like, it can't be that bad.
So above table, Maddie doesn't actually know who put her in here, only that Hawk was involved,
Yeah.
or at least aware.
Well, from what Dee Dee has just said, Maddie's like, oh, nope, never mind, I'm done.
It's also
kinda-
worth noting that while she is being babysat by you, she will, for the most part, defer to your better judgment. So if you say, go hide in the woods and don't fucking touch anything, also here, wear this bed sheet and don't talk to anybody, she'll do that. She'll expect some quality time with whoever does it.
we can
But
still like get some more specifics like that type of shit in this agreement if we want.
Get the fucking toddler backpack.
I'm happy to have Creepy Faye come along and chat with us.
Yes, and
'Cause
also
I've got
again,
stuff I want to talk to her about.
Boy.
absolutely. And again, also the fact that you guys are dealing in good faith, that really, really limits her ability to pull bullshit on you. Like, that is the whole point. Like, making a deal with Faye but not operating in good faith is a guaranteed way for Faye to get the upper hand on you.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm fine with the temp. I'm also fine with if we wanted to hash out a longer term thing. To your points, Iris, I think Heron could probably just stay with her for most of the time.
I'm honestly more concerned about Maddie and Aang keeping their shit
True.
together than
Mhm.
than Dee Dee actually causing problems.
Because, like, dude, all I'm thinking, right, is that, like, she pisses one of them off too much by talking shit about Hawk. One of them snaps, hurts her, and is like, deals off.
Hold on. Continue the discussion. I just thought of something that I must send.
I also wouldn't be surprised if that's the quote unquote plan, though. Just saying.
I promise, as
Against the good
a
faith shit.
yes, I promise as a
Okay.
DM, I will
Okay.
only break whatever contract or rules set out by you all, insofar as I talk to a particular player and I'm like, okay, how do you feel
One
about
second.
breaking some rules? Gotcha.
Mhm.
But like, if you all are worried about, like, for example, you guys agree to the temp deal, and of course, this Trixie Faye gets someone in a bad mood, and that person who's in a bad mood, not going to name names, pulls out some sort of weapon of some kind and attacks her and does damage. If that were to happen, I will say the deal is not off. It is not scratching and it's like, all right, no holds barred, combat's on, everybody roll initiative. No. Instead, I would say,
Don't guilt trip us.
all right, for that particular player, we need to have a conversation because I want to know what you want to happen. And I also want to know how interesting you want to get with this, because we can have a one-on-one and talk out some interesting plot consequences for whatever sort of shit goes down. But I will say, as a broad rule, this is not going to be me antagonistically trying to get one up on y'all, because no, I want this to be a fun and intriguing and dangerous creature you are bargaining with.
Okay. Sorry if it's repetitive. However, I just want, for my own anxieties, it
No,
just helps
totally
to
fair.
hear it again
Mm-hmm,
before,
mm-hmm,
like, my mind starts spiraling of just like, we shouldn't have done that, you know?
mm-hmm. I will say there is one more offer that Dee Dee will make for the party as a consideration, if you all are willing to hear it.
Fuck it, might as well.
Okay, that Peaky Blinders clip is so fucking funny. Sorry.
I love that clip so much, and it feels so accurate to this moment.
No fucking fighting. No fighting. I will wait for confirmation from the Piper.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with taking it with us.
Okay. Yeah. So there's one more offer. Now you got me fucked up, Z. I almost said Lavinia. No, it's Dee Dee. So Dee
No fucking fighting.
Dee, she will offer one more, and she'll say, "Well, I know it's a bit hard to make up your all minds because you got 6 of them there to work with, but I'll extend to you an olive branch. Say, for example, you're worried about me getting up to no good, either with any of y'all on the off time, or maybe with some unfortunate poor widower who just wants someone to talk to on some lonesome town, or maybe you just don't want a particular cutesy little rabbit to meet its untimely end because I'm in a bit of a peckish mood. I will extend to you this." And she smiles and looks to Pierre and says, "If you leave someone in here, in this box, in my place, I will obey your every command. But only if you leave someone here to experience what I have been living in for 20 years.
Oh, if I would get in that box in a fucking heartbeat, but I have an overriding. I cannot get in the box.
For how long?
For as long as it takes to find your little box, girl.
If Paige goes
And-
flying towards the window, Willow will catch her.
And you have my word, I will not shirk my responsibility as a dutiful tracker. But just to give someone else a little taste of what I've been living in. For my own amusement. Paige, what are you doing on a 2? I am desperate to see what you're doing on a 2.
You said she looked
Honestly.
at Pierre
Uh-huh.
when she said that, right?
She 100% looked straight at Pierre, the quiet French boy who's been vibing in the corner, just like hoping that she doesn't notice him.
I imagine she, like, Paige was, like, going around. She fucking sees that shit. And Paige and all of her fucking, like, fucking teeny tiny petite ass glory is going to march right in front, push Pierre back.
He stumbles a little bit. You push him back.
Why were you looking at him?
She shrugs and holds up her hands. No reason. No reason at all.
I
Electra.
think we should talk over there, away from this lovely person.
Willow just turns around, nodding. I think that is actually a good idea. Pierre, Paige, Maddie. Shoo. Shoo, shoo, shoo.
Really quick, Electra on a 5.
I'm considering taking her up on that offer.
For, as in, like, Electra stays in the box?
Yeah.
What?
If it means that she completely obeys you guys and guarantees, 1, the job done, 2, everybody's safety, and that it's only like a couple days at most, that's a good deal.
We don't know that it's a couple days, though.
Yeah,
It could
don't
That
know
is
how
the
long.
issue.
That is the issue.
Mm-hmm.
That is the issue.
Another above table
Go
thing.
ahead.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Well, I'm just thinking, right?
mm-hmm.
Like more logistically. If we were going to put someone in the box, how long could we get them to survive in the box through all of our resources combined?
All of the combined rations?
And
Quite
you
a while.
could survive in the box for a very long time. Like Dee Dee, she would not be happy toward the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally told no, though. You have a dog a dog friend. Wolf,
Yeah.
half wolf friend.
She would have to get leave from Maddie to do it, but
She's put in a request for leave.
she would have to put in a request for leave. But Aang could do it,
I don't.
and she doesn't like people.
I don't like this because then that's gonna put one or somebody out for many sessions. So unless
That's the issue, yeah.
unless it is a, I know I'm not going to be able to make it for like the next 2 months.
Yeah, that's
And
the only potential issue.
I don't want
Not for
to anybody
Pierre.
to like fucking have to make a secondary character either and work with that. That's just too much shit. So the
Mhm.
only one like above table that would work is Pierre, and I personally like I understand the logic and the benefit of it, but we can still fucking make. You guys are at. For me personally, I feel like there's too much agonizing over this deal when this deal is not that hard to make ironclad for a short term.
I'm
Mhm.
not agonizing over it. I'm more than happy to take her along.
Yeah, I'm also fine with taking
Yeah.
her along.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
feel
just
like-
wanted
Amy,
to.
I
I
will say,
wanted to offer
y'all,
that
Third
it's
last
Amy and
box.
Iris that are agonizing over it.
Dude, I already said I'm good for either doing the temporary or doing the going for the long term. I just wanted clarification in the pinky promise verbally from Joe that he's not gonna
Mhm.
do some fuck shit. That's all I wanted.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
The only reason I wanted to offer the box thing was because I had that thought, and I thought it would be very, very funny to offer it.
okay.
To antagonize the Pinkie Pie. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back in table, we'll say, okay, come with us.
Well,
Whoa.
Iris hasn't talked.
Iris?
So.
Ow.
What say you?
I'm fine with whatever the party decides.
Are you sure? Is that your final answer?
Out of character, I'm cool with just doing the fun stuff. I do
Mhm,
believe there are some
mhm.
consequences that'll be interesting to mess around with. But like, I personally don't. I'm not hung up over.
All
I
right.
was just more of in character, like,
Yeah. This
being
is
difficult.
while we are all on the same page, this is a fun choice that I want to offer you that will have consequences no matter which way you slice it, because it's either you take her help as a double-edged sword or you don't, and you risk something else bad happening to the little girl. But I
So-
think it is more fun to have the funny, kooky, southern evil NPC in the party for an extended period of time. Personally.
All right. So if we're all in agreement, then we can take the
Mhm.
short term and figure out the long term after either this session, maybe next session. We can figure it out.
Correct. And you guys
Yeah,
got time.
Willow
We're running
spends
up
the night.
on and we are running up on the holiday season, so if any other session gets kicked, you just got even more time to mull it over.
Yeah, Willow spends the night just like writing up a contract.
Essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the what Willow will demand to make it like faster and easier rather than just saying, okay, back in character, we agree, is
Gotcha.
the no harming of the party or any other humans or
Unless
friendly
there is
creatures,
a consent. Yeah.
unless there is consent.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that includes weirdlings, by the way, Joe.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It does.
Yeah,
I will not. I'm not going to be hair splitting on that.
That's where
Okay.
it's like friendly creatures. So
Mhm, mhm.
weirdlings, fae, anything anything that is vaguely ally shaped.
She is going to restrict herself again, clarifying above table. She is going to restrict herself
I understand.
only to game animals. Yes.
You must stay within eyesight of, in particular, Electra, Maddie, and Aang.
Mm-hmm.
Because Willow and Paige and Pierre are not going to be able to do a whole lot of anything. That she has to stay in eyesight, no harming. That she will, once we find the girl, she will also not harm the girl or try to take her away or disappear with her. And she
Or the
must remain with us until we can negotiate a new contract with her.
Perfectly understandable. And she will stay with you all after finding the girl with the box. Or she will stay with you all until you find the girl with the box. She will stay with you all after you find the girl with the box. She will stay with you all until you bring her back to her prison, and then you can work out an ending to this deal, to this bargain.
Now, we'll say that should she also, should the party get attacked, she is also responsible for helping us defend ourselves.
Okay.
She can't stand beside and like just watch us get like run over or aid them in any form or fashion.
Okay, so without going into character, I'm assuming this negotiation is partially happening in the story in terms of what's going on. But like, there's one stipulation: if she is bound to protect you all from aggressors of any form, and she will defer to the better judgment. So if there is like a call of like, no, don't kill them, she won't kill them. Or if there is a call of, yes, kill them, she will. But if there happens to be a band of highwaymen or other humanoid looking people, and if there is no particular call to not kill them, she gets to keep the skin of one of them. A fresh start.
So at least as far as Willow's concerned, if they tried to kill us first, skin's hers.
Mm-hmm. They gotta start it.
Yeah.
And everyone in the group has to be either unvocal or outwardly okay with her using lethal force. And if both of those things are true, and the men or enemies or whomever don't back down, he gets a new coat of paint. And I promise, cross my heart, as a DM and as a storyteller, I will not use this to take like undue advantage of the situation to make you all like horrible villains. I will make it gruesome, but I will not do this to like get a one-up on you and be like, haha, you fucked up and didn't contract hard enough, because we're not lawyers and that's not why we're here. Fair.
Sounds fair to me.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Okay. I need exactly 3 minutes to pee and get water.
All right, I'm starting a timer.
Shake finger at Maddie and Egg. No fighting. Don't fucking try to beef with this woman.
No fighting, no fucking fighting.
What? If her feelings get hurt just from words, then we have some other problems here.
A little bit more concerned with the fact that Maddie's feelings were apparently hurt just by words.
Just ignore that.
No.
1 second. I'll be on.